California. While thousands of fans screamed and sang along with BTS member Jin during his first solo concert in the US, one person was noticeably absent: Jungkook. The youngest member of BTS, often seen as Jin's closest donseng, was nowhere to be found, and fans are starting to question why. What started as a joyful celebration of Jin's post-military return and his emotionally charged Run Jin solo tour quickly turned into a storm of speculation and heartbreak for ARMY. For many, Jungkook's absence wasn't just surprising, it was suspicious. No mention, no post, not even a story wishing him luck. That's not the Jungkook we know, one fan tweeted, setting off a frenzy of online discussion. Adding fuel to the fire, the night of Jin's Anaheim concert, Jungkook posted unrelated content on his personal account, a short clip of himself in the studio working on new music. While some fans saw it as business as usual, others saw it as a subtle dig, or at the very least, a glaring act of indifference. Theories began to snowball. Could there be a growing rift between the oldest and youngest BTS members? Could Jin's recent comments about feeling alone in certain moments during interviews hint at deeper tensions within the group? And then came the moment that truly broke fans' hearts. During his encore, right before performing the emotional ballad "I'll Be There," Jin looked out into the crowd, paused for a moment, and said softly, "There are people you hope will show up, and when they don't, you keep singing anyway." The line sent the fandom into meltdown. Was that a direct message to Jungkook? Though there has been no official statement from Big Hit Music or either artist, the silence is almost deafening. And in the world of BTS, where every word, every glance, every online interaction is analyzed, silence often speaks louder than anything. Fans have started pointing to other recent signs. Jin and Jungkook haven't been seen together in public or online for months. While some attribute this to conflicting solo schedules and military service, others aren't so sure anymore. We've always believed their bond was unbreakable, but now I don't know what to believe. Something feels off. Some armies are begging for understanding, saying that distance doesn't mean dislike. Others are calling it a quiet fallout, a slow unraveling hidden behind solo debuts and glowing headlines. In a group that has long symbolized unity, love, and brotherhood, this moment feels unfamiliar and deeply unsettling. Whether it's just the natural growing pains of global icons pursuing individual careers or something more personal and painful remains unclear. For now, Jin continues to shine on his own stage, even if certain seats remain painfully empty. And Jungkook? Still silent. The silence from Jungkook has become louder than any official statement could ever be. As days pass since Jin's emotional concert in Anaheim, fans are left replaying every moment, analyzing every gesture, every word, every breath. It wasn't just a performance, it was a message. And perhaps the most piercing part of that message was what wasn't said and who wasn't there to hear it. Jin stood on that stage not just as a performer returning from military service, but as a man stepping into his own spotlight, alone. For the first time, he wasn't flanked by the other 6 members of BTS, who had once been constant in every performance, every laugh, every victory. And while fans cheered and chanted his name with unrelenting love, a shadow hung over the night, a missing presence that no amount of applause could fill. Jungkook, the youngest, the golden maknae, who has often shared the closest bond with Jin, did not appear, did not post support, did not even acknowledge the concert on any platform. For a group known for their unbreakable brotherhood, this wasn't just strange, it felt wrong. Whispers of tension had long circulated in quiet corners of the fandom, brushed aside as baseless speculation. But now, with this public absence, they've begun to take root. Could there really be a divide between the Hyung, who once proudly called himself worldwide handsome, and the maknae, who always seemed to orbit closest to him? Jin's words on stage didn't name names, but they didn't need to. The tone said enough. There are people you hope will show up, and when they don't, you keep singing anyway. It wasn't bitter. It wasn't angry. It was heavier than that. It was resignation. And Jungkook, he was in the studio smiling into a camera, headphones over his ears, working on new music. For someone who once shared every step of his journey with his brothers, the timing felt almost calculated, or maybe careless, or maybe simply cold.
Theories are swirling. Some fans believe the two have grown apart naturally, pulled in different directions by solo careers, personal changes, and the inevitable complexities of adulthood. Others are less forgiving, calling Jungkook out for what they see as emotional neglect, a refusal to publicly support a member who had always supported him. Still, many armies hold on to hope. Hope that this is temporary. Hope that whatever distance exists between them can be healed. That behind the silence is simply exhaustion, not resentment. That this moment is a pause, not an ending. But for now, the reality remains. Jin cried on stage, and Jungkook wasn't there. Not in the crowd, not online, not even in words. As the days stretch on without acknowledgement from Jungkook, what began as quiet confusion is starting to ferment into something sharper: disappointment. Fans who once celebrated the closeness between BTS's oldest and youngest now scroll through their timelines with unease, wondering when or if any gesture will come to bridge the growing emotional distance. Every silence becomes a sentence. Every lack of interaction is treated like proof. It's not just that Jungkook didn't attend, it's that he didn't appear to care, or at least that's how it felt. There was no supportive message, no congratulatory repost, no behind-the-scenes visit, no flower delivery photographed discreetly by staff, nothing. For a fandom that has been raised on the mythology of BTS's deep bond, their almost brotherly connection, this silence feels like betrayal. It isn't loud, it isn't scandalous, it's worse. It's subtle, cold, real. Jin, on the other hand, carries on. He always has. During rehearsals, he's focused. During fan interactions, he's warm. On stage, he's electric. But beneath all of that, there's a rawness now that wasn't there before. It comes through in the way his voice tightens on certain lines, in the way he sometimes stares into the crowd as if searching for someone he knows won't be there. That kind of loneliness can't be choreographed. What hurts fans the most isn't the idea that Jin and Jungkook had a falling out. People grow, relationships change. What hurts is the idea that after everything they've been through together, after building a legacy on love and loyalty and shared struggle, one could disappear from the other's most important night and act like it never happened. No one expected Jungkook to be perfect, but they expected him to show up, or at least to say something, anything. For eyes that are used to seeing everything in BTS world, this silence is deafening. Instead, Jungkook remains a ghost in the narrative, visibly active, vocally silent. Every new piece of content he shares is met with comments pleading for clarity, begging for a sign that things are okay, or even that they're not, because right now, not knowing is worse than any truth. Some fans defend him still. They say he's overwhelmed. They say he's focused. They say he's grieving the distance in his own quiet way.
But even those voices are starting to waver, unsure of how long understanding can stretch before it begins to look like denial. And maybe Jin understands all of this too. Maybe that's why he hasn't said anything directly. Maybe that's why his only answer was that quiet, aching sentence on stage, and the way he kept singing through it, voice trembling but steady. He didn't need to name the one who didn't show up. The silence had already done it for him. In the world of BTS, everything is seen, everything is remembered. And this absence, Jungkook's absence, will be remembered too. Not as a scandal, not as a dramatic break, but as a moment when one bond, once thought unshakable, slipped through the cracks unnoticed by one and felt deeply by the other. And in the space between them now lives a question no one is brave enough to ask out loud. If this could happen to Jin and Jungkook, what else about BTS has quietly begun to change? That question hangs heavy over the fandom, growing louder in private messages, fan forums, and whispered threads. It's the kind of question armies never thought they'd have to ask. Because BTS wasn't just a group, it was a promise. A promise that no matter how big they became, no matter how far they traveled, or how different their paths might grow, they would always return to each other. That they would be seven forever. Now, that promise feels fragile. Fans aren't just mourning a possible rift, they're mourning an idea. The idea that the love between these members was pure, unshakable, unbreakable. The idea that Jin and Jungkook, who once teased and supported each other with such effortless closeness, could quietly drift apart without a single word to the people who have believed in their bond for over a decade. That maybe in the spaces we can't see, behind the rehearsals, the camera-ready smiles, the polished solo debuts, something has cracked, and no one is willing to name it.
Even now, as Jin's tour continues and Jungkook remains silent, there's a tension in every new update. Fans are watching them more closely than ever, not for what they say, but for what they don't. Every live broadcast from Jungkook is analyzed. Will he mention Jin? Will he say anything about the concert? Every post from Jin is met with quiet hope that he might reassure fans that everything is fine, even if it's not. But the truth is, maybe they don't know what to say either. Maybe it's not a dramatic feud or a betrayal. Maybe it's something far more human, growing apart. The cruel, quiet reality of relationships that once meant everything becoming distant, without warning, without reason, without blame. Just silence where there used to be noise. And yet, the longing remains. Not just Jin's, not just the fans. Jungkook too must feel the shift. He must know what his absence meant, how it looked, how it felt. The question is, did he intend for that? Or did he simply let the moment pass, thinking there would always be another chance? But some moments don't come again. Some stages are only walked once. And when one person sings with all their heart, hoping someone they love will be in the crowd to hear it, and that person isn't, something is lost. Even if they speak again, even if they laugh again, that absence becomes part of the story. And maybe that's what this is now. A new chapter, one written in glances not exchanged, in concerts unvisited, in songs that sound different when one voice is missing. BTS is still here, the music is still here, but something small, something sacred, feels out of place. And no amount of explanation, if it ever comes, will make the world forget how it felt to see Jin cry under the lights and know that Jungkook, for whatever reason, wasn't there to catch him.